Hello everybody, this is Nate, aka Devil Dog, and I'm back with a complete walkthrough of the Great Gubal Library hard mode dungeon that was just released on the Soul Surrender patch of Final Fantasy XIV that was just released this past Tuesday. This video will include a complete walkthrough of the whole level, including all the boss battles. Now make sure as you play through this you pay attention to what I say, and don't forget to enjoy the fantastic music. Alright everybody, it's time for your first boss battle of the Great Gubal Library Hard. It is the Demon of the Tome. If you remember the Demon book from the original version of the Great Gubal Library, he finally comes out to play. And he's not really that bad at all. Basically, just have your tank face him away from the party, as you can see here. As long as you have a decent healer, all you have to do is just watch out for his basic AoE attacks. He'll lay him down. You can very easily see him. They're very easy telegraphed, and all you have to do is just avoid them. Just watch him, pay attention to his cone of damage, pay attention to the floor of where he's going to lay down the AoE attacks, and just make sure you're not standing in the wrong place at the wrong time, and you'll have no problem in beating the Demon of the Tome. In fact, I thought this was quite a disappointing battle. I was hoping for a lot more of a challenge than this. It was way too damn easy. As you can see here, he'll lay down different AoE attacks. Just make sure you're not standing in the wrong place at the wrong time, and you'll be perfectly fine. Alright, now it's time to fight the second boss battle of this new dungeon, and it's time to fight the Liquid Flame. He is the cousin's brother's uncle's former roommate who has got a hot temper, and he pretty much is the cousin of the same guy that you had to fight in Alexander. Now with him, there's nothing really major you have to really notice about except for certain mechanics that happen through along the way. Make sure that the tank pulls the aggro of him and tries to face him away, and eventually he will start laying down AoE on the ground, as you can see here. It's pretty easy to avoid it. Then he will pretty much pick a random character, normally it is whoever has the aggro, and attach a tether to him, which means he is going to bum rush him. Normally the farther away you get from him when he bum rushes you, the less damage you take, but as long as the tank is decent and the healer is good, you should have no problems in actually surviving that attack. Now as you progress through, he will have different forms and do different attacks to you. He will turn into a ball, as you can see, that's coming up soon, which normally will tell you that he's about to do a certain mechanic. Now this mechanic actually persists of putting an icon over your head, as you see here. You will either have a moon over your head or a sun over your head, and this is very easily. All you do is go to either the glowing moon or the glowing sun, matching up what is above your head. If you have a sun, go to the glowing sun. If you have a moon, go to the glowing moon. As you can see here, I actually fuck it up. Instead of going to the glowing sun, because I have the icon on my head, I go to run to the wrong one and I take some damage. Now you don't really seem to take a lot of damage here, but it can progressively get a lot more dangerous as you persist through the battle if you aren't paying attention. Now he will have multiple forms, as you can see here. He will have the hand grab and everything like that. As long as the tank is keeping aggro on him, he won't actually go and attack the other players. You should have really no problems in dealing with his multiple forms. Now at a certain point there will be a glowing ring on the outside. Now naturally you don't want to cross in that. You will either get a plus or a minus symbol above your head. Now that represents basically similar to the fight that you did in Alexander. If you have a plus above your head, you want to try to get as far away from him as possible without standing in the outside ring of fire. If you have a negative above your head, you want to get as close to him as possible. And as you can see here, you will actually be tethered to the other player generally, or the boss. A lot of times I think it's just the boss you're attached to. I can't really tell because he's a glowing fire in the middle, but I have found as long as you have a plus symbol and you get as far away from him as possible, you'll be fine. And a negative symbol is you get it close away, as close to him as possible. Generally the knockback won't be that bad and you will have no problems in beating this boss of the game. Once again, I found this boss a complete pushover. It might be just because the healer and the tank were really good, but all in all, he was too damn easy. now it's time for the third and final boss battle of this new dungeon. It's time to fight Strix. Strix is for kids! The fuck he is! Actually, Strix is pretty damn cool, and the boss battles are actually not that difficult as long as you pay attention to the certain mechanics that he actually does. Most of his effects all have to do with spell books. He'll lay down certain spell books on the ground, and if you gotta pay close attention to the spell that he casts. As you see here, he will cast properties of quakes. When he casts that, you wanted to go to the glowing one that will actually cast levitation on your character. By doing that, it will not hurt you in any way. If you do not do that, you will actually be affected by that spell. Now, just keep damaging as much as you can. Naturally, the tank will want to get his attention and make sure to pull aggro on him and keep him away. The healer will keep needing to heal, and as you pay attention to the spell books that he lays down. Now, after he does cast the Quake spell, he will actually end up casting, it's called Properties of Darkness. And what you want to do with this is you want to actually try to get in one of the rings to avoid the damn ability. He'll cast Properties of Tornadoes next. And in this case, get in the black ring because it will cast Leaden on you, which pretty much will keep you from getting hurt and hold you to the ground. Now, as the battle progresses back to 50% of his damage lost, he will normally cast a certain spell called Imp. Now, when he casts Imp, get into the green glowing circle to remove it. If you don't, he can do major damage to you and hurt you. Now, when he places this icon over your head, try to space out away from other characters. That way you can actually split the damage and it won't pretty much kill you all. Now, when he reaches 50%, he will move to the side and cast his ultimate spell. You'll see it because he will actually pop up, the whatever he says, woo-hoo, how, and it'll pop up, the collection of grimoires on screen, and a big ass book will appear with a behemoth. Now, in this case, you want to pretty much watch out for the AoEs that will appear on the ground. Also, watch out for the ground AoE, as you see here, to get away from it, and to avoid the meteor that drops. Once the meteor drops, treat this similar as you did in the Labyrinth of the Ancients or any other time. You want to get and hide behind the meteor before he casts his meteor attack. If you are not behind it before he casts his meteor attack, you will be instantly killed. Now, after this, it's pretty much all downhill. All you want to do is pretty much burn him down as fast as you can, keeping in mind of any sort of spell he casts. Once again, if he casts Quake, go to the one that gives you levitation. If you cast Tornado, go to the one that causes Leaden. Now, if you become an Imp, go to the green ring to remove the Imp status. As long as you follow these things, you will have no problem in beating this guy. Strix is not for kids, but you know what? He's not that much of a challenge either. I want to thank everybody that watches my channel. I want to thank everybody that subscribes to it. And I want to give a big shout out to a guy named TurkeyMan07 and say these words to him. Trek, 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 trek. Peace out and enjoy the music at the end.